What's up, everybody? It's the Quarter Guy, and I'm sorry for getting this out so late, and I noticed that I've been getting these out late, as of late, so to speak. Unintentional pun there, but one thing I've been noticing about the Switch's upcoming software lineup, and game journalists have been picking up on this as well. It seems that Nintendo has become more open to having, quote-unquote, mature games on their platform. Specifically games that are more violent and gory to some extent, as well as games that have more risque content, shall we say. And for instance, and most prominent being the fact that Doom and Wolfenstein 2 are coming to the Switch. I mean, when I first found out about this, I was actually kind of surprised. I mean, well, for one, hardware, sort of, considering the Switch's hardware isn't as powerful as PS4 and Xbox One, and certainly not their more powerful counterparts, but, and meanwhile, the questionable games of Galagun 2 and Senran Kagura, the fact that they're coming to Switch also surprised me as well, but apparently the producer of Galagun was afraid that Nintendo would probably turn them down, but the pitch was apparently received rather well. Now, I figured I'd offer up my thoughts on it. Also, yeah, well, another thing coming later, but you know, while I personally don't play these kinds of games, I think that if Nintendo... let's see, how do I put this? If Nintendo plays this card right, it could really help improve the sales of the Switch even more, because one of the things Nintendo has had a problem with is a reputation for being, quote-unquote, kiddie. And I'm honestly not surprised. A lot of their biggest franchises are rather cartoony and kiddie, like Mario and Kirby and Pokemon. Granted, they have franchises that appeal to a bit more mature audience, more like a teenage audience, sort of stuff like Metroid and Fire Emblem, but they hadn't been able to quite shake this image of being kiddie. Now, this new openness to more mature content is something Nintendo would need to be careful of, because they don't want to... It would be bad for them if they became seen as family unfriendly, but appealing to a wider demographic is never a bad thing. I mean, as long as they... well, after all, it's... because, well, one of the things that Nintendo lost in the past few generations is the appeal to the more mature crowd. And they're an audience that has a lot of money, so allowing games on their system that will appeal to people like them could be good, as long as they don't alienate their other fans. You know, the ones who like the kid-friendly stuff and the more family-friendly stuff. It's a balancing act, and it's one that I think Nintendo's capable of pulling off, as long as they're careful about it. Let's hope that works out for them. Speaking of the Switch, another thing that the Switch is getting more of, that the Wii U lacked, fighting games. I mean, the Wii U only had like 4 or 5 fighting games total, and I think the Switch has that many already, like, either in the pipe or released already. I mean, Ultra Street Fighter 2, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, ARMS, and they're already getting Blade Strangers, and Pokken Tournament Deluxe, and another fighting game was just added to that lineup, slated for release next year. That's right, in BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle's latest reveal trailer, not only did they reveal Rachel Alucard and Hazama from BlazBlue and Vice Schnee from Ruby joining her comrade Ruby Rose, but they also revealed that the platforms that the game will be releasing on: PlayStation 4, Steam, and Nintendo Switch. Now, as a casual fan of fighting games, casual, not professional, or anything like that, or competitive, or stuff like that, I see this as a very good thing. Mainly for the fact that the Switch is getting fighting game love that the Wii U lacked. And I am definitely looking forward to this. So, also, updates on the Extra Life campaign. I am approaching $200, but I am hoping to get there at least before the game day. I am doing, reminder, I am doing my 24-hour game day on November 11th, and my Mega Maker Extra Life Challenge is continuing through, not only through the game day, but beyond that as well. So, if you have a Mega Maker level that you'd like me to play, just go to my Extra Life campaign page and send me the level code in your donation message. Any donation size will count. Any that they'll allow, anyway. I think their minimum is $1. Further details for that are in the cards post patron credits, so check that out if you get a chance. For my question of the week, what are your thoughts on Nintendo's increased openness towards mature titles? As always, answers in the comments. Favorite comments will be featured in the next episode. Here are last episode's winners. And with that, time for the Fourth Wall Mailbag. As always, send me your questions via YouTube comments. Go to my page, click the About tab, click the Send Message button, and I'll answer my favorites in the next episode. First question this week comes from Brendan Wright, who asks, what is your favorite RPG? Okay, I'm gonna be honest here. I'd have to say my favorite RPG, as of right now, is Xenoblade Chronicles for the Wii. When I first heard about its release, I was hyped for it, and to be honest, it did not disappoint me one bit. There were a couple things that bugged me about it, like a few of the boss battles and the side quest system, but overall, it was an amazing experience for me, and I'm glad it came out on the Wii. Thanks to Project Rainfall to spread awareness of it. And I'm hoping that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is an equally exciting experience for me. Next question comes from the Masked Mewtwo, who asks, any thoughts on Cuphead so far? Really great game. Really intentionally challenging. Very few cheat moments so far, but that may change as I get into the later levels for that. I really love the aesthetic for that game. They really nailed the 30s cartoon aesthetic, both in graphics and in the jazz soundtrack. They really did a great job with that. Gameplay is tight, and controls are really good. So, most gaming PCs should be able to handle it, so if you have a gaming quality PC or an Xbox One, I highly recommend picking it up if you're into challenge. Next question comes from Simon Kim, who asks, if King of Fighters 15 gets released, what's your reaction? Happiness, but not really any sort of surprise, because from what I understand, the King of Fighters 14 sold really well, despite originally being a PS4 console exclusive, until it later released on Steam. But, King of Fighters is a popular series, maybe not as popular as stuff like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, but still pulls in a pretty good amount of attention. And it's a fun series with a lot of characters and a lot of possibilities for battle. So, it won't surprise me if SNK makes a sequel, but it will make me happy. Though what'll make me happier is if they release it on more than just one platform at launch. I also hope that SNK will look at other franchises besides King of Fighters, which they have hinted at they'll be doing. So that's definitely a good thing. So let's hope we see more from SNK soon. It'd be nice to see a Twinkle Star Sprites reboot. Next question comes from Alan the Ultimate Gamer, who asks, do you think BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle will ever be dubbed? I, sadly, am not holding my breath for it. I mean, considering the fact that Central Fiction didn't get a dub, it kind of hurts the chances for Cross Tag Battle getting dubbed. which is really a shame because, as you all know, I'm a big fan of the English voice performances for most of the characters in the BlazBlue franchise up through Chrono Phantasma. Particularly Patrick Seitz' performance as Ragna. I mean, there's a reason I did the I Stand With Ragna hashtag. That is a bummer. Though, on the other hand, word is that for the Ruby characters, they will have options for Japanese and English voices for those characters, at least. So that gives me some hope for a full dub. Guess we'll have to wait and see. Last question this week comes from Palastatic, who asks, what would you say if I told you that I cited your top 10 video game villains video as a source for a college paper I wrote? I hope you aced it.